If you want a quick comparison, I did look at this actually the other day with Vladimir. This is the really cheap Moan ink palm, which if you just want a phone size e-reader, it doesn't need to be a phone, then this works just fine for £70. This is the Big Me High Break, and this is the color version, but the black and white is even cheaper than the Boox Palmer. The Boox Palmer is the more powerful device. Yes, the BSR is a little bit better than what Big Me are doing with their ultra fast refresh stuff. What do they call it? X rapid fast or something like that refresh. But do you know what? The actual quality of the video performance on this screen is pretty impressive. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by the quality of the video. Maybe I installed Open Camera, which is just a better camera than the one that was installed on it. My boys and girls having their ice creams. I mean, actually, that's pretty good, right? It's not just me, that looks, for e-ink, that looks, okay, it looks good in terms of its refresh rate. And I don't know what mode I'm in right now. That's in, yeah, video mode, so that should be the fastest kind of refresh. In terms of video refresh rate, it's good. But what isn't good is the color quality, is it? It's very, very washed out. And there's many times when people see this phone and they say, oh, is that black and white only, that phone? The colors are very washed out, even looking at that. On first glance, next to the two black and white screens, it's even hard to tell that that is the color screen in the middle. The older Kaleido screen just isn't quite there yet. So I do wish they had managed to secure some Kaleido free screens of this size. It is the cheaper of the two high break phones that we're going to get. So I think for some of you, just go ahead and wait for the next one. Be optimistic for Big Me improving things to such a point where the next phone that comes along, which should have Android 14, which will have the Kaleido free screen in it, I hope, that phone will be even better, and that's probably the one to get, really. It'll be more expensive though, of course, which is another thing as well. So the display, yeah, it's good in terms of its refresh, in terms of its anti-ghosting, it's very, very good. In terms of responsiveness, it's good, but well, it's not perfect in terms of its responsiveness. There's lots of times when you press a button and you think, did I really press it properly? But in terms of when you do hit it right, the speed that the screen actually responds is just fine. You know, it is disappointing for color though. When you're coming from Kaleido 3, it is disappointing for color. Talking about the build quality, it is a plasticky quality, but actually it is quite a nice feel to the back of it. It's got this kind of bumpy feel. It's perfectly fine. It feels solidly built. I haven't got it in a case. I don't feel like it's going to just get destroyed every single time I drop it. It feels like a pretty solid phone, not bad at all. There's issues with it linking to certain cell phone providers. I was pleased to find that it worked just fine here, but there is a list of the bands that it does support, but it isn't all of them. You can look on the website, it's listed out the list of bands it supports. But for me, if you know you want a minimalist phone right now, I think right now this is the best minimal phone you can buy. For me, I'm going to have my other phone in the car. I'm going to have access to this if and when I need it. This is almost sometimes becoming like my sort of second device. I will put this in my pocket when I'm at home. It's like my sort of home mini tablet in a way. If I need to take this out with me, I will take this out with me. But most of the time, I'm pretty happy to be reliant on this phone here. For instance, there was a point just the other day when I was using my email provider. I was in an email thread on Spark that was about 20 messages long, and the issue, it was being really, really slow. Like I would type something, I'd have to wait for like 20 seconds to see it appear on the screen. And that was really quite annoying. I have seen it slow down on this before, but not when it gets to 20 messages long, when it gets to more like 50 or something. So I then moved to doing the same email on this and it wasn't laggy. So it is, you know, older technology. It is, again, I haven't done a CPU Z on it, but it is an older technology processor. So, you know, expect lower performance than what you're kind of used to on a kind of modern flagship phone. Let's put in CPU Z and get that downloaded. And do you want to do that? You know, I think that you're not going to be able to do everything that you want to do on the go on the Big Me High Break. You know, maybe you want a second device, which is a iPad mini or an iPad Pro maybe with 4G in that. Actually, for me, you only need one phone. So you don't need a second phone, but maybe you want a miniature tablet with 4G connectivity that can live in your car or live in your bag. And that's what the Fold is currently doing for me. Any other type of small tablet that you can maybe take with you to allow you to do sort of more media orientated things on the go. It's a MediaTek Helio P35, 12 nanometer processor, so quite an old size, 4 2.3 gigahertz processing cores and 4 efficiency 1.8 gigahertz cores. So really quite standard kind of design there. Yeah, look, screen density, that's what lets it down, 160 dpi, and that's the black and white, I think. You see, video looks all right for an e-ink device, doesn't it? You know, Big Me have got a lot of things right on this. Yeah, 6 gigabytes of RAM, isn't it? So, you know, plenty there, and 128 gigabytes of storage. So plenty there with expandable storage as well. Some points of skepticism. Yeah, security patches. Get this, 2021 is the latest Android security patch on this from Android 11. That's quite old. Although do remember that apps are always up to date security because they're managed by Google Play Protect. So as long as you installed via Google Play, then that app is managed its security by Google Play Protect. So the device might have weaknesses with its security, but the app wouldn't necessarily. So bear that in mind. I'm going to keep my banking apps on this device, which is current Android, and the security patch is a bit more reliable. It is like going back 5 years in terms of the camera quality, in terms of things like no wireless charging, slower USB-C charging, no NFC. Those limitations, if you're not willing to make that compromise, this isn't for you right now. But what is it? It's an e-reader everywhere. And rather than carrying this and this, or Boox Palmer and this, or Boox Palmer and any other normal size of phone, what you're now carrying is just this, and you can still get contacted by whoever needs to contact you. You can still manage your emails and stuff like that. You can still add any app that you fancy using. You know, I've got geocaching app on here because I fancied giving that a go the other day. You can still do those things, but it isn't the all singing and all dancing thing. But the main thing you're going to want to do is you're going to take advantage of the Kindle app, and you're going to use that. You'll notice, some of the eagle-eyed out there will notice that I have installed Google Wallet on there, and it has worked just fine for buying things on there as well. But you'll notice I haven't put YouTube Studio on there. You notice I haven't put Amazon on there, or eBay, or any of the other things that kind of take my focus away at times. And I think right now this is the best minimal phone that you can buy. So any other questions at all about this really classic kind of shape, this really basic phone that will allow you to do what you want to do on it, and allow you, importantly, to read more on it? Yeah, I agree with you, Kai, there. It feels like we're back to the old discussion of single purpose versus multi-purpose devices. I don't mind carrying my Palmer with my phone because it does reading really well. Yeah, but I think for me, I wanted to move away from having this with me all the time. And so if you want that, or if you want to be able to take breaks from that, for some people have, you know, a dumb phone, don't they? Like a feature phone. And they say sometimes I just put my SIM card in the feature phone and I go out and I leave the smartphone at home. This will do that for you, but it won't mean that you have to just go back to just having calls and texts. You know, if you use a dumb phone, well, you're giving up WhatsApp. And I know the UK uses WhatsApp more than the US does. But if my wife wants to contact me, or any of my family members or friends want to contact me, then they will send me a message through WhatsApp. That is just the way that we communicate here. I think in the States you generally use Messenger or iMessage. You could put that on here as well. So for me, just having access to whichever apps you do want to take, and having that thoughtful kind of pause where you think to yourself, what do I want to install, and what do I want in my pocket all of the time, and what do I just want access to, like nearby, back in the car, or I can check it like once a day rather than constantly in my pocket there. I love this. I think this is absolutely brilliant, you know, and it's it really does my head in, for instance, that this doesn't have the fingerprint unlock, and you can only do a 6, it's a 6-digit code, and there's no way to change it back to a 4-digit code. So that's 7 presses before you've even got into the actual home screen. Whereas this is, as you pick it up, where your thumb normally lands, it's on and ready to go. This is, it's incredible. I mean, I use this, I use this as the second monitor for my laptop. Okay, when I edit videos on my laptop, I put this next to my laptop and I put the video onto this screen, and I just have the timeline on the laptop, right? So this phone is so multifunctional. It is a miniature computer, and I can plug it into a display and make it, I often do this as well. If we're, I don't know, in an Airbnb somewhere, then I will wirelessly connect this to the TV and I can stream media through that, or I can show my photos, or I can work on it if I need to. Great portable computer, the Z Fold, but I don't need it with me all the time. And you're absolutely right. Going back to that discussion, what do you want in your pocket all of the time? Well, I want a phone and I want an e-reader. And this is that in one device, and it's really good, and it's affordable, and it's cheap enough. I think honestly, it's cheap enough for you to take a punt on and just find out if it fits in your life. And if it doesn't, then you haven't lost everything. And if it doesn't, and you've fancied a Boox Palmer, for instance, fancied a new small e-reader, then you've got yourself a new small e-reader anyway. And if you ever want to just put a SIM card in it and get mobile connections on it, then you can do that as well. Really like it. I would be obliged to replace the screen in my Palmer. It's really difficult to replace an LCD phone in terms of durability at work. Yeah. Did you have the flip over cover? That's why I did that as well. Although I've put a screen, I haven't got a screen protector on the Palmer. It has got a really nice matte screen on it. This one didn't have a very nice matte screen, although it's not a bad screen, but I did put one of the included screen protectors. They gave you 2 in the box, which has got a nice matte kind of screen. But you can see that in terms of the sort of modernity of screens, the Moan has a really old screen which is quite deeply sunk within the actual device. The High Break has a slightly more up-to-date screen, but it's still quite recessed within, whereas the Palmer does have a really nice, very up-to-date, really clear, crisp black and white screen. I really want to try the black and white High Break as well, and I want to really recommend that. It looks great, but sound is supposedly terrible as a result of the one speaker top. Yes, absolutely, the sound is terrible. Let's listen to the little voice note that I made earlier on in this chat. Play.
We're recording a voice note now. Will it transcribe it, or is it just leaving the voice note in here?
Yeah, so it's pretty awful because we're just using this one speaker there, which is like simultaneously too loud when you put it to the ear and not loud enough whenever you're doing anything else. It's not got the bass firing speakers that we're used to on a modern smartphone. Again, think about it like that. Do you actually want the compromise of going back to phones of 5 years ago for the benefits of having e-ink? The answer for me is yes. I want that. The answer for you might well be no. But you'll notice I probably will at some point put Audible on here, or short form as well, things that I do actually listen to audio books and things on. But I will use that in conjunction probably with a Bluetooth speaker for most of the time. Bluetooth headphones maybe, rather than listening to it like I do with the Fold. It's got the nice big bass speaker at the bottom. I do just leave this and listen to it, and actually the sound is pretty good. It's not good enough for music, but it's pretty good. But I would just use some wireless headphones with this if I want to listen to anything at all. But I certainly won't be watching YouTube videos on it, for instance. If you want something for sound, well, I don't think you want this. This is if you want something primarily that you're going to do 90% of the time on it. You're mostly going to be reading on it. That's what this is for. You want this if you want a reader and you want one device. You want your phone to be your reader. And I think that's a really good future. I think that's a healthier outlook than where we've got to with smartphones. Good. You have bought a flip cover because of that, yeah, but you never, absolutely, yeah. So the glass screens with e-ink are less durable than the plastic screens, but personally I've never broken a screen, but maybe I will find, because I haven't got a case for this, and maybe I'll look into it soon actually and accessorize it a little bit. I've found that I've got a scratch already on the screen protector. So clearly I've put it in my pocket and got just picking out the light there so you can see that scratch, I hope. Maybe I will find that actually I do damage the screen there as well. But that will all be, I mean, you will have my experience with this going forward, and you will find I will share all of the things, all the good and the bad with the Big Me High Break as we go forward. But right now, I like it. And I'm enthusiastic to see the future of it. I'm enthusiastic to see where it goes. And judging by what I'm reading from you guys in the comments and in the Reddit threads, etc., you're enthusiastic too. So let's hope this is a good phone for the future. I think my advice to a lot of you will be probably, okay, jump into this if you feel like you want that future right now and that the cost of it isn't too much for you. But otherwise, wait, hold your horses, let them develop the software to a point where it's brilliant, and jump in on the second generation of the Big Me High Break, because it shouldn't be too long before those come out. Just really quickly, Max says, reduced time on my phone, e-ink screens look promising, but I think maybe a dumb phone and the Boox Go 6 would be a perfect combo. Yeah, hoping for the Boox Go 6 to come in pretty soon. I don't disagree with you at all there, Max. Yeah, that does sound fine, but when I tried my best to use the Palmer along with a smartphone, I just found that whenever I wanted to do anything connected to the internet with the Palmer, I was getting friction there, and I wasn't doing that. I was defaulting to the small smartphone that I was using, and that became frustrating because the small smartphone couldn't do what I wanted it to do. Whereas I think that this will be easier to do certain things on. I think the dumb phone, you'll be frustrated with what you can't do on that, and then you'll switch to the reader and you'll only be able to read on that. And so you'll have this kind of gap where occasionally you'll want something else. You'll want a different app. You'll want the geocaching app, for instance. You'll want, you know, for me it was maps. You know, you'll need to be able to find your way around the world. Whereas you can do it on just one device on this. I just think that, I think there's a big future for these devices. And my family members, they asked me when I got this, is it really a market for that? And yeah, there actually is. There's lots of people like me, I think, who want one device to be their reader and to be their phone.